Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible. Can someone just give me a thumbs up if I'm audible? Hello. All right. Thank you so much, Sakshi. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our second policy marathon. I guess we're already 10 minutes late. So, we'll just start in the next 1 minute. We'll just wait for 1 more minute. We have only 11 participants till now. All right. I guess let's start. People will join. Okay. So, welcome to today's session of Policy Marathon. We'll think critically and put up our thoughts on the table and share ideas that could probably shape the future of our education. And today's topic is a very relevant one, an extremely powerful one that we all can relate to as students, one which we all must have wished at least one point or the other in our life. What if marks were not there? Life would have been so happy, right? So that's our topic for today. What if the Indian education system banned the system of marks, grades, and ranks till grade 10th? Will students learn better or not? Most of us have, like all of us, in fact, have grown up in a system where we are defined through our marks. Marks really define how we see ourselves, how others see us, how others see our capabilities, and how others judge us. But what if, just what if we remove that pressure from the youth of India? Would students become more curious, more creative, and more motivated to actually learn without the pressure to constantly perform and score good? Or would it worsen the situation for the students? This is not really a debate. There are no right or wrong answers. This is a safe space. We're all here to just share perspectives, experiences, and ideas, learn from each other, listen to each other, discuss with each other, and whether you think banning grades would help or harm the students. Everyone's voice and everyone's opinions really matter here. So let's be open, honest, and thoughtful. And I hope this will be an extremely engaging session like it was before. Just to brush up the guidelines again, I hope you all are. I hope you all are sitting at a place where there is a stable network connection, and you all are supposed to switch on your video whenever you are speaking, whenever you get the chance to speak. And I hope you will come up with your questions and your opinions on other speeches as well, so we can make this session very fruitful and engaging and interesting for all of us. Right? So I guess let's get on to it. Okay. Anybody who is willing to volunteer to be the first speaker for our today's session, please raise your hand. Guys, please raise your hand, otherwise I'll have to choose some random person on my own. Anybody willing to volunteer to be the first speaker? Please raise your hand. Okay, great. We have Nidhi. Nidhi, please turn on the camera and you can go ahead.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, perfectly audible.
Okay. So I didn't really have um, a sort of a speech or whatever. I kind of have just a bunch of arguments that I want to put forward, if that's okay.
Yep, sure. Anything is fine.
Yeah. So before starting, I'm assuming that most of us are students, right, or have been students before. And it's kind of hard to imagine a schooling system without, say, a system of grades or ranks, right? In fact, the education system in India has been so interlinked, ever so interlinked with the competitive grading system, that to question the validity of the grading system is, in fact, questioning the validity of the education system itself. That's my opinion. And I think that's because with the system of grading, you create a system of good students and a system of bad students. And if that's an outcome of such an education system, especially when it comes to grades 10th and below, which are kind of your formative years of education, then I think we're fundamentally missing the point of the education system. Right now, as a student myself, I do believe that I come from a kind of a biased point of view where obviously I don't like exams. But I do know that grades do motivate students to complete their tasks and assignments, right? I have done that myself 100 times before, and I believe a lot of us have. And I think that it's unfortunate that that happens in itself because the over reliance on grades leads to an emergence uh, of extrinsic motivation, and where students are primarily driven by either external rewards or by the fear of external punishments that they do their tasks. This can stifle a student's intrinsic motivation, whether it is them engaging with the subject due to their own curiosity or their own interest. Now, this creates an environment of an artificial engagement with the process of learning itself, kind of deeming it useless in the end. Then my question is, what is the purpose of the grading system in the first place, right? Why did it come into picture in the first place? So if the main objective is to understand how much of the material is the student understanding, then you'd think that the grading system would be an incorrect measure. Because grades reflect a student's ability to perform in a specific assessment at a specific point of time, right? Be it exams, be it a test or something like that. And when the assessment is so short lived, things like, say, anxiety, memorization skills, or just like plain luck plays a very important role, even more so than that of, say, really, really understanding the subject, deeming it pointless at the end. So I'd like to argue that abolishment of the grading system isn't about losing the sort of metric for assessment, but more about shifting the focus of the education of the process of learning in itself. It's about prioritizing genuine understanding over artificial performance. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Those were some really valid points. Anyone who has any opinions or any further questions for Nidhi, please raise your hand. Anyone who wants to say anything, any perspective, anything, can all raise your hand. All right, seeing none, we'll go for the next speaker. Anyone willing to volunteer to be the next speaker, please raise your hand. Anyone who wishes to be the next speaker? All right. Avradeep, would you like to go next? Avradeep, are you there? No response. Okay. Um, Anjali, Anjali, would you like to be the next speaker? Okay. Ashna,
Yes, ma'am.
Ashna, would you like to go next?
Can I go after someone like second? Because I just joined.
Sure. Okay. Anyone else? Pankhuri, Pankhuri, would you like to go next? Are you there? All right. Uh, Brinda Kalra. Brinda, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Brinda, would you like to go next?
Yeah, in just a minute. I just have to give something to my mother. Actually, she is ill. In just 1 minute. Yeah.
Sure, no issues. If anyone else is willing to go till then please raise your hand. We can go ahead with the session with our next speaker. Otherwise, I guess we'll wait for Brinda. Oh,
Can I go?
Vaishnavi. Sanika, would you like to go after Vaishnavi? Is that okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, perfect. Vaishnavi, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear
Great.
me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. To begin with, what if we stop ranking children like products on a shelf and instead focus on how they learn, grow, and think? Banning marks and ranks till grade 10 might sound bold, but it could be one of the most powerful ways to transform our education system. According to the 2021 NCRT survey, over 80% of students from in classes 6 to 10 reported stress and anxiety related to exams. Another study by Lokniti CSDS found that nearly 3 out of 5 students feel pressured to outperform their peers rather than enjoy learning. Clearly, our current system pushes students to chase marks, not knowledge. If we remove marks and ranks, especially in foundational years, we allow children to focus on understanding rather than rote memorization. This doesn't mean we remove assessment, it means we rethink it. An effective alternative is continuous and comprehensive evaluation, which assesses students through projects, group work, class presentation, and creative assessments or creative assignments. It values skills like communication, critical thinking, and collaboration, skills that traditional exams often ignore. Finland, for example, has no formal exams until age 16, yet consistently ranks in the top 10 in global education indexes. Why? Because they measure growth, not competition. It's time we do the same. Let's stop grading students and start growing them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi, for your insights and statistics. Anyone who has any questions for Vaishnavi or any opinions, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none, Vaishnavi, I do happen to have a small question. You mentioned a very valid point about comprehensive evaluation, group works, and projects. But don't you think our recent NAP policy has already introduced that? We already have group works and project works in our curriculum, which is the internal marking of 20 marks. But they still don't seem to have any impact, right?
Yeah, because I think internal assessment consists of 15 to 20% of the overall grade that they earn. So at the end of the year, you still see rank one, rank two based on how much they perform in the final exams. And the concept is to remove that. Because how many times have you heard in a classroom, ma'am, will this come in the exam? Ma'am, should we learn this for the exam? So the students, they're no longer learning because they want knowledge, because they want to understand how the world works. They want to learn so that they can write it in the exam, get better grades than their friends, and become the topper. So to kind of remove that kind of a mindset from students and encourage them to learn because they want to gain knowledge is why grading and ranking system should be removed. So even though it is included, I think the main aim in NEP why these internal assessments were included was because students can learn teamwork or how to be able to communicate, not because so that they start focusing on learning. It was, it was made to help them learn these skills, not to make them interested in gaining knowledge. So I don't think 20% of the grade is enough, because at the end of the day, still how well they do in final exams is what determines if they're a good student or a bad student. So yeah, NEP is a good start, but there's more progress and more changes required.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi. Anyone else who have any questions or perspectives? Okay, I don't see any. So let's move on to the next speaker. Sanika, would you like to go next?
Yes.
Great. Can you please turn on your camera? Just a second, Sanika. Anjali, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just raised the hand for speaking only.
Oh, okay. I guess after Sanika, we'll take Vrinda and then I'll recognize you, right?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Great. Sanika, please go on.
So good evening. So I personally think if the education system banned marks and ranks till grade 10, it would really help students learn in a much healthier and meaningful way. As right now, our education system is way too focused on marks. From a very young age, kids are pushed into tuitions. They told to score high, and the entire point of school becomes just about getting good grades. But education is supposed to be about learning and gaining knowledge. This obsession with marks actually kills their curiosity. We memorize things just to write them in exams and then forget them the very next day. So skills like creativity, communication, or many other behavioral skills, which matter so much in the real life, real world, are hardly developed in such education systems. Because of this, students struggle in job market. There's this recent example I would like to give is a Delhi University topper, someone who had over 50 certificates and 10 medals, but she couldn't crack even a single job interview. Why? Because she didn't have the practical skills which are required for the job. So that shows how marks don't always prepare us for the real world, for the job market. If we look outside India in countries like Finland, Norway, rather all the Scandinavian countries, they are a great example, as they don't have standard exams or marks for younger students. Instead, they focus on real understanding and skill building. And as we can see, the reports and surveys, their students are still among the best in the world. On the positive side in India, a lot of parents have started realizing that marks aren't everything, especially in cities like Pune and Bangalore. People are now turning towards different ways of learning, like homeschooling and unschooling. There's this example of Urmila Samson from Pune. She has been unschooling her three kids for years. Instead of pushing them for marks or exams, she lets them learn through real life experiences. And the best part is her kids are doing just fine. They are very confident, curious, and we can say happy learners. Even in Bangalore, there are places like Arohi Life Education and PME, where learning is not about textbooks and teachers, but about exploring students' interests. There are no strict classrooms or fixed subjects, and the kids learn at their own pace. So all of this shows that it is possible to grow without the pressure of marks. If we remove grades and rankings till class 10, I genuinely feel student would start learning out of their interest and not just for a report card. So if we I think it would really change how we see education in this country. So that's it from me.
That's great, Sanika. Any questions or any opinions from anyone? Please raise your hand. Anjali, okay, right. Anyone else who have any questions? All right, seeing none, we move on to the next speaker. Vrinda, are you ready now?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, okay. Sure, Ashna, you may go after Anjali. Okay, great.
Okay.
Vrinda, please go ahead.
Yeah. So we have all have a memory like we have exam next day and we are learning an entire chapter just the night before. That's because somewhere marks became more important than learning. But does that mean we should remove marks and ranks completely till grade 10? According to me, we don't think like that. According to me, that is not a proper way. Marks and grades are not the enemy. In fact, they play a very important role when used the right way. They help us understand what we have learned, what we do to work on, and they give us a sense of achievement. Like imagine playing a game where there's no score, no progress bar. Would you enjoy it for long? But here's where the problem begins. When marks become everything, when students are told that only toppers matters, that your future depends on your percentage, that when stress, fear, and comparison enter the classroom. So, what we can do instead? We don't need to remove the grading system. We need to rethink how we use it. Like, imagine instead of asking exams define photosynthesis, what if the question was you planted a seed yesterday, how will it grow and what does it need to survive? That's real learning, that's understanding, and that's the practical. Or we can take maths. Instead of solve this question, ask if you are baking a cake and need to double the recipe, how much flour would you need? This not only checks concepts but also connects them to real life. Even subjects like social science or English can become more engaging with activities like debates, model making, storytelling, or case studies. Let's marks reflects a child creativity, teamwork, communication, and problem solving skills, not just the memory power. We can also like reduce rank list and public comparisons. Like every child has their own pace. A flower doesn't bloom by being shouted at, but it needs sunlight, space, and time. So what kind of system that we should have that children also learn in proper way, and marks also can be used wisely. So it includes practical activity based learning and focus on creativity and not just correct answers. We should introduce playful learning through games like arts, projects, experiments, and we should also give feedback that helps. Like feedback doesn't hurt, it encourages us to learn and not make mistake that less time. Like because education isn't about just scoring 95, it's about preparing students for life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Those were awesome points. Anyone who has any questions? Guys, we all need to engage and discuss, right? So even a small opinion could work. Let's not just have this policy month for the sake of it, just speak for 2 minutes and go. Let's actually make it fruitful for all of us, right? All right, no worries. Next speaker, we have Anjali. After Anjali, we'll have Ashna, right? Anjali, can you please turn on your camera? Anjali, are you there? Anjali,
Oh, sorry, ma'am, the internet connection was weak.
no issues. Please turn on your camera and you can go ahead.
May I, ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so let's call what it is. Education in India today feels less like a learning journey and more like a survival sport. Walk into any Indian teenager's room and you're likely to find two things: a stack of NCERT textbooks and a pile of coaching modules that look like they have been through war. So, somewhere between these piles lies a confused student, torn between learning and scoring, between being a thinker and being a ranker. So, but this isn't a new phenomena. For years, we have collectively applauded for marks more than mastery, ranks more than reasoning. From dinner table conversations to our WhatsApp family groups, the measure of intelligence often boils down to a three-digit number after the words JEE, or the NEET score. So, education, the very tool meant to liberate our minds, has slowly morphed into an anxiety inducing and memory testing circus. So, at the heart of it, it is a silent, tough war between the schools versus the coaching centers. So, in theory, the school should be enough, right? They're supposed to be the one stop shop for academic growth, the personal development, and character building. But reality bites. Teachers are overburdened, the syllabus is rigid, and the pressure to complete the course trumps any effort to truly connect with the students. So, into this vacuum steps the coaching industries. Sharp, fast paced, and laser focused and unapologetically result oriented. What began as an extra help has now become a parallel universe. So the coaching centers don't just tutor students, they replace the whole system. The students, knowingly or unknowingly, start living in this alternate reality where the only metric that matters is performance. The daily lives are structured around mock tests, question banks, or the revision drills. So the personality thing is like optional. Passion, maybe we'll see it later, or mental health, who has a time for it. It's like been that for the students. So this divide between the schools that teach and the coaching centers that train reveals a much larger crack in a foundation. We're not just talking about two education models. We're talking about two philosophies. One that educate you for life and the other wants to prep you for an entrance exam. And somewhere between the ideal and the inevitable, we are losing a generation of students who don't know if they're actually learning or just playing a very high stake game of academic chess. So, who's at the fault? The schools for not evolving, the coaching center for capitalizing on that failure, or is it us, just the society, for turning education into a scoreboard? Yeah, that was it from my side.
Thank you so much, Anjali. Do we have any questions for Anjali? Anything? Any questions? Brinda, please go ahead.
I want to ask, like, then how could like coaching center should like interact with school and work on the engaging learning, like learning like not only based on reading and like giving exams, but also practical learning.
Can you just repeat what you just said?
How coaching students should interact with the schools so that they could have the practical learning, not only like reading and writing the exam.
Okay, so what works here at this point in time, the coachings and the schools are very different. Okay, so rather than just being the counter effect, just counterparts to each other, they can be counter effective also. So it can be just like the things that are good at the coaching and the things that are good at schools can be intermixed. For instance, the school should borrow that works for coaching, like focus sections, personalized feedbacks, and the continuous assessments. Right. And likewise, the coaching center should also adapt like holistic meters, tracking not just performance but also well-being of the students. So maybe we can regulate such policies that rebuilds the system so that the good things in both the system can be reintegrated into each other. Rather than just being counterparts of each other, they can be counter-effective. Yeah, that was it from my side.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brinda. Thank you, Anjali. Next up, we have Ashna. Ashna, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Am I visible?
Yes.
So, good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by saying that most of the points that I wanted to convey have been covered by fellow speakers, and I agree with most of them. I also feel like completely banning the marks and rank system till grade 10 would be a really drastic change in our education system, because marks and ranks has been something that we have been known throughout our lives. Let's like can say, for as long as we can remember, marks and ranks have always been a part of the education system around us. And as fellow speakers said, it's not that we need to completely ban them or completely eliminate them, but reform them and change them in a way that they seem less like a competition but an assessment and a reflection of what the student has learned so far and what all they have improved in and excelled in. I also believe that marks and ranks until the grade 10th don't really matter as much. So they can be reduced in their, let's say, frequency, rather than having 3 or 4 exams, intensive exams throughout the year. Is just 1 or 2 yearly, and followed with or like accompanied by other assessments such as projects, group works, as as said by others. um, and like I also believe that if we completely ban the marks and ranks till grade 10, after grade 10 is what will be really a hectic and like too much for the children, because till grade 10, if they have no clue of what ranking is, what assessment is, they're suddenly introduced to the board exams in 12th, which is not that hard, because as I gave my 10th during COVID, so we didn't really have any boards, and I directly gave the 12th boards. So it wasn't that difficult. It was a very easy journey, but then it is the JEE, NEET, and other competitive exams that really get extensive and very hectic for children. So banning completely till grade 10 will can also result in like a failure or loss for children, because they eventually have to face the competitive exams or 12th boards eventually. Unless we change that system too, unless we make reforms to that system as well, completely banning is not the solution. Yes, the intensity can be reduced, it can be leveled down, because after all, children till grade 10 need learning, acquiring knowledge, getting to know themselves, learning about their passion, interests, and things that actually help them grow. That is what matters rather than marks and ranking. Another thing I'd like to say is that assessments are still necessary. They should not be completely removed, because they help a child understand his or her potential and capability, where they are lacking, where they are excelling, where they need to improve, and that also lets the teachers guide them easily and properly, because they have a clear picture of what they need to help the children with. Um, Things like field trips, camps, night stays can be introduced more to promote practical and like an interactive learning. The classrooms should be made more engaging, so that the children focuses in the class completely during the class, and that exams don't feel like a burden, rather like a play for them. As I remember, if we notice that during exams, not all students are stressed. Those who pay attention during class feel it like a breeze. They go through it like a breeze, and others who find it difficult to understand the concept, they often struggle. So they should also be helped focused on. The teachers need to focus on students, and classroom should be made more engaging. Lastly, I would like to say that I would like to do a little comparative study, like comparison between me and my brother. We go to the same school. Like I went to the same school as he did. During my time in sixth, I remember during my final exams, I used to sit down with my mom and strategize how much marks I need to do to improve from my previous performance. What all chapters should I study? How should I study and everything. But as I noticed with the introduction of NEP and changes in the teaching methods, my younger brother did not have to struggle at all. It didn't even seem like he had his final exam. He just came he would come to me a night before. We would sit for an hour, cover everything, and that would be it. And the next day he would come home saying, my exam was at last. It was as easy as it is. So I believe the NEP is making changes. They will be slow and gradual, and that marks and assessments and our ranking needs to be revised rather than removed. Thank you.
That was a great point you mentioned, Ashna, about students later having to face competitive exams and stuff. So yeah, let's take a break for 2 minutes and let's all have a group activity. People who agree with Ashna's point that yes, it will be difficult for the students to later deal with competitive exams, you all can just give me a thumbs up. And those who think that no, students will gradually adapt through grade 11th and 12th and marks should actually be reduced to grade 10th, you can all give me a hand raise. Okay, we have 4 thumbs up. Others? Hand raise for those who think student will actually gradually adapt, and thumbs up for those who think that no, they will face trouble later in grade 12th. Okay, thank you, Anjali. Others? Thank you, Simran. Great, Sanika, Nidhi. Great, good to know. Okay, so now we all agree that yes, they face issues in 12th grade. So anyone who's willing to share some points related to, like, it's clear that marks really impact students' mental health, especially students in 8th to 9th grade. They're already too young for all these tuitions and coachings and pressure. So it's clear that we do need to reduce the intensity of marks to some extent if we need to, encourage learning and students' mental health. But at the same time, how can we prepare them for the future, the competitive exams and the competition at college? Any points or any thoughts of anyone? Any 2, 3 people, you all can share your thoughts. How can we do that? Great, Nidhi, can you go ahead?
So when I was speaking about the abolishment of the grading
Nidhi,
system, what I was thinking was that
I'm so sorry to
it can.
interrupt. Can you please turn on the camera?
Oh yeah, one second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was speaking from a point of view where I don't think it can exist in isolation, right? So when you say that you're abolishing the grading system till the 10th grade, you have to create some measures in order to uh, see that happening with other higher grades as well. So 11th, 12th, say undergraduate studies or postgraduate studies. You need to see some of that happening in higher studies as well. It can't just exist in isolation because then it doesn't make sense, like Ashna mentioned. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Anyone else who wants to share the thoughts on topic? Because this is a really crucial one and an extremely valid point. Anyone? Okay, Vrinda. Vrinda, please turn on your camera. You can go ahead. Oh,
Yeah, according to me, we should do a system like we have seen many things like in 11th or 12th we also have a maths for commerce side that is not used for them at all, and that is mainly for the people who are from the science background. So according to me, first of all, we should make a system where learning is helpful for the children if they are going further, not the like learning which is they are just doing for gaining marks. First of all, that thing should be there. Another thing, we have seen now people are just learning like we all are just learning so that we can get a job, we can earn from that, and we don't have like our mothers and fathers, they have a knowledge that they can use there in practical life also. Like if our mother is making a chapati, she knows that if we will do like this, how that will be harmful. Like she knows the remedies and all. She has not done any medical science, but she knows that because she has learned that practically from her mother. So that's the main thing. The schools are not making us learn a practicality of that thing. They are just saying learn that thing, ditto, you have to same write that thing only in the paper, you can't change the language also, and we want same that thing. So that thing should be avoided, and there should be practical test also, not just the written test. Like we need to know that the child is learning, gaining the practical lesson from that thing or not. That thing should be there. So yeah.
Great, Brenda. Thank you so much. Now we have Kuber and Sanika. So first, Kuber can go and then Sanika can follow him up. Perfect. But it would be great if you all can turn on the cameras. Thank you so much, Kuber.
Yeah, ma'am. So if we're serious on implementing the grading system and changing it to make it so that after 11th only they will be participating in formal examination, we should push students towards more Olympiads and other such exams so that they get a feel for the competitive exam, all the while gaining practical knowledge, etc. So that like it encourages a spirit of competition as well. And the Olympiads are usually on national level and focus more on the application side, as other fellow colleagues mentioned that the application basis would be more helpful for students to gain practical knowledge. That would be my solution for that thing. That's it.
Thank you so much, Kuber. That was an amazing solution. Now we have Sanika. Pankuri, you may go ahead after Sanika.
Yeah, actually, I think the education system should focus more on brainstorming rather than rote learning, because the students they just learn things from the textbook without understanding what it exactly mean, uh, what uh, what are its side effects, or what are their benefits. They don't know anything and they just write it in exam and then gain good marks, but it is not helpful till 10th grade and also after 10th as well. So the education system should focus on brainstorming and the practical skills for all the standards up till graduation or post graduation. The entire education system uh, should be focusing more on brainstorming and practical skills.
Okay, thank you so much, Sanika. Pankuri, you can go next. Please
Yeah. So, according to me, I think I agree with Kuber's point, like introduction of gradual exposure through Olympiads, mock exams, etc. Um, throughout classes 9, 10, and which aligns with university entrance preparation later on, would be a good policy implementation in this area. Also, I feel, and I've seen since I am in university as well, so I've seen people of my age indulging in more exposure based activities such as internships or other activities which are apart from the academics. And I think in like people when they enter their undergrad or post grad studies, higher education studies, they are more focused on skill development, personality development, rather than just grades and all. So yeah.
In terms of internships are actually a good point. Now I just have a small question for Kuber, and I guess Pankuri, you too can answer if you agree with this point. Now introducing practicality and Olympiad exams is actually a very good point, which can help. But the problem which lies here is, I mean, even this year, 10th and 12th boards, a lot of application-based questions were introduced, and a lot of students had difficulty in attempting that. So the results of current year boards clearly declares that application-based questions can be introduced, but students will not be able to implement them until the changes are made in the curriculum and how they are taught. If they are taught, if they are just fed the textbooks, of course, they won't be able to, attempt the application-based questions in the board exams. Plus, second point, Olympiad, we still have Olympiads in, I guess, all schools, but the participation level is not up to the mark. So, how do you think we can firstly increase the participation and secondly introduce application-based questions in our curriculum as well, so that students are prepared to, attempt that in the exams? Should we continue textbook-based learning or should there be new methods?
Okay, ma'am. So let us tackle each of the problems. So first of all, about the curriculum thing, we should focus more on like the group studies and the other student-based assignment that was suggested. We could gradually introduce each of these questions. Let us say we form a group and give them a certain number of questions and tell them to figure it out on their own, and so that they would also learn how to research stuff on their own, and this would also improve in the practicality expo and skill gaining, as well as complementing those self-application based progress. And about the participation thing, I don't really have a good solution for that. I guess we can just try to not really. I don't have a good solution for that aspect. I guess I'll have to figure it out.
That's fine, Kuber. Thank you so much. Anyone else who would like to say anything?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, Brinda. Now, a lot of people suggested that we should have application-based questions in the exam, but there's no point of having questions in the exam when students are not really prepared to attempt the questions, right? The whole year, students are just taught to just, spoon feed the textbook, and that is all. They're not really prepared to attempt the application-based questions. So, what changes can be introduced in the curriculum for that to actually prepare the students for that kind of competitiveness in the Olympiad exams?
uh that thing was done in my school. So yeah, so in basically my school, we were made learning in a way like, for science also we were having the Eureka science that was starting from third class only, where we used to like do things with chemicals. Like what we are learning in science, we were doing that thing practically also, and that was started from third class. And till like 8 to 10, that things were done, because after that it is your choice, you are taking science or not. So we were doing practical learning also. So that based learning should be introduced from starting to the that children. School should only provide that learning. That thing should be included in our curriculum. And that like on once a week that thing should be done, because we can't do that thing daily on daily basis. Like there is two games period in a week, so there should be one period for that thing also. And another thing in SST, like for map work, like children how they will memorize the map work. Like now also I remember some of the map work because of my school based learning only. That we were having a smart board system, where my teacher used to place Google Maps, and each and every children has to point out where the country, like where the country or where a state is, whether it is world map or uh, Indian map, political map. Based on that thing, a children has to mark a state or mark a country. And due to like due to that thing, we just learn, because that thing got colored and we get to know that the state is right or not. So that practical learning helped a lot, not just me but my other classmates also, that we can remember thing till now. So that thing should be done from starting. In maths also, I think just now only I've thought that we should move to a like written paper, to slowly to the practical paper type. We can shift to that thing, like not instantly, because that will like shake the system. but yeah, gradually through these small methods.
Thank you so much, Virinda. Next we have Kuber. Kuber, you can go ahead, and after that, Pankuli, if you want to speak, you can as well. Just turn on your camera if you can. Thank you.
Ma'am, first of all, I have a question for Vrinda. Like, she just said that we should focus more on practicality, but how do we do that? That was the whole point of discussion. Of course, we know we have to focus on the practicality aspect, but like we were looking for a how. Also, about the Olympiad participation thing, I guess what we can do is just like how internships and other medals, etc., are more valuable and looked upon as a personality development thing, and also as a way to more enhance your resume, etc. We can give these kinds of importances to different kind of olympiads, etc., that the student has participated in, and that might bring a culture of people participating in different kind of olympiads, etc. Just like how different there is a system of recommendation, letter of recommendation system in the US as well, for you have to get different recommendations from your professors, etc. So we can replace that, or in a way complement our education system with these olympiads, etc.
Yeah, good point, Kuber. We can have incentives after the Olympiad and stuff. Virinda, would you like to answer the question Kuber asked?
Yes, I have answered that thing, that we can focus on practicality, that I have
Five.
given
Just
my example of the Eureka Science subject, where used to do things with the experiment that our school has launched. So a school should start, like now we in maths also, many schools are starting introducing abacus from the starting point of view, that student not only like in a written paper can do maths, but can orally also can do maths problems and all. So that I think now that things are coming slowly, but that things are introduced, and in olympiad also we have a time limit. So in maths that things can help later. So yeah.
okay. Thank you, Virinda. Pankuri, do you want to speak anything?
Yeah, I think the there should be a change, not one. Um, I think there should be change not only in the curriculum but also in the evaluation system, and introduction of like quizzes, class discussions, activity-based learning, just like how you do in preschool, would be a great initiative in this area.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pankuri. Right. This was an amazing group activity. Now I guess we can go back to our speakers. Anyone willing to volunteer to be the next speaker? Please raise your hand. Sakshi, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Am I
Sakshi,
audible? Am I audible?
yes, you are. Can you please turn on the camera as well?
Oh, sorry, won't be able to.
Sorry.
Sorry, I won't be able to turn my camera on.
Your voice is a bit fumbled.
Sorry, I won't be able to turn my camera on. I'm audible to you or not?
No issues. You're audible. You can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so about like, can we just ban the grading and marking system? Is it feasible? Yeah, but it's a very slow process. Like currently, the Indian education system, we can't do that because it's a why it's a slow process? Because there's a lot more related with the education system, uh, which is definitely we have the alternative approaches for that, and uh, some researches by UNESCO, but why we can't do that? Why we can't just we obviously uh, uh, we can gradually shift from grading system to a feedback system where we can give a better feedback to students, and we can give like if you guys remember that in our report card we had a designated corner where we used to get feedbacks about ourselves, about our personality, which hardly our parents used to look, and we got more focused on our marks, and that corner was just neglected by like for ages. Even now, I think rarely there are parents who see those corners where there is a designated feedback corner for students, where teachers try to give the feedback the student is good at these things and they are not behaving well in class, or whether they are participating in class or not. So yeah, to go on a broader feedback system, needs time. The reason being, obviously, we have diverse school infrastructure. There we have schools from rural areas to urban areas to semi-urban areas, and we have not chapter trained teachers, we lack trained teachers, and definitely the resources. And to implement qualitative assessment, we need chapter training of teachers, and we need a culture. We need to break the cultural emphasis of the marks among parents and the employers, because then only a feedback system will be feasible only. Then if we are not giving, if we are not using the grading or marking system, if we are not using the grading or marking system, then what alternative assessment system we are going to use? So for that, we definitely need to design with a robust system where we can assess the students. Uh, Someone said that we need to assess students based on their projects, but I will say that we have also done projects, we have also done practical lab works, and we used to get assessed on that. And our peers who did that were not involved in those projects work. At the last of the term, they used to beg the teachers that these are the numbers. Please give these numbers to us, or as our school card will deteriorate. So I think to uh, have a uh, project-based assessment or a progress assessment based on uh, the system of feedbacks or uh, peer groups discussion, we need to definitely design a very robust system, which NEP 2020 is kind of doing, and I think aims for, like whether it's with CBSE, CBSE introducing SFL, or whether it was the CC which CBSE introduced a while back. I definitely believe that CC pattern, or the implementation of CC pattern was a bit uneven, but the pattern was actually quite good with the inclusion of essay formative assessments, which basically used to help students. So yeah, more robust system to assess the progress of students, and how they are going to tackle this shift of marks, shift to the marking system after 10th grade. If we are just banning this thing till after till 10th grade, we need for that, because just having things which, like Kumesh said or Pankuri said, like we have these Olympiads a lot. We used to have these Olympiads when like my father used to study. We used to have Olympiads at that time also. When I was studying, we used to have Olympiads at that time also. And when the children were studying now, they are having Olympiads also. Even I feel that the pattern of Olympiads have changed um, drastically, and they have gone to a more easier comfort way, because like now students have more access to chapter papers and books, or they have a much more guidance about how to tackle these Olympiads, which basically we didn't used to have get back to in those times. But I think as to implement a feasible system of uh, actually not grading, but to have a strong planning of a feedback system. We need to track skill of the students. We need to track the realistic mindset of the students. We need to work on the creativity set goals of the students. So there are and how we are going to integrate those things with different subjects. So integrating those with different subjects is what I think NEP is trying to do with its books. But the most important part is implementation. If that goes well, then I think in a slow manner, slowly but gradually, we will be able to uh, get a strong plan where we will see that in future children won't be having these issues of being left behind or being stressed about their marks. But I think they will be more stressed about the feedbacks they are getting, because I think in the learning process, what we are learning and how we are doing, uh, getting a feedback about that is very much important, and that's where the stress comes from, and that's what the parents stress about. And Marx used to do the thing with us, and maybe the feedback system will used to do this thing with the future generation. So I think learning is the most important uh, part where we need to look around.
Sakshi,
Thank you.
Sakshi, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but could you please cut it short so that
Yeah,
everyone
I
can
just
get a chance to hear?
it's just over. Thank you.
Okay, great. Pankuri, do you want to be the next speaker?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, please go ahead and please turn on your camera.
Yeah, 1 minute. Am I audible?
Yeah, perfectly audible.
Yeah. Okay, so I also agree with my fellow speakers. I feel that in the coming time, concepts like homeschooling and skill-based assessments will be more popular than the conventional grading-based system. And parents, uh, to change the current grading-based evaluation and curriculum, I think parents play a very important role over here. Parents pay a hefty amount to schools and colleges, provide education to their children, and in this grade and ranking-based system, when the children do not perform better, it creates an atmosphere of anxiety and stress, which pressurizes students to sometimes indulge in activities such as suicides, fear of not standing up to their parents' expectations, depression, etc. Also, I've seen like this is a very personal experience. I have seen some of my friends studying a few hours or a night before exam and scoring more than uh, myself as well. So I feel that this creates a loop of fear and unhealthy competition among students. And I feel like people like me who study like a month before or a week before or in advance for such exams perform may sometimes underperform and because of exam pressure or anything like that and could perform better in skill-based assessments or if the curriculum and the evaluation system is changed. And I feel that we cannot completely put a ban on grades and marks system because it will definitely have a kind of a negative impact on the learning outcomes. Instead, yeah, the same point that evaluation system should be modified, involve quizzes, class discussions, activity-based learning, project works, and exposure to real field activities rather than just grades and ranking. Yeah, that's it from me.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Pankuri. Anyone willing to go next? Please raise your hand. Deepika, you can go ahead after turning on the camera. Deepika, you're not audible. Could you please check your mic? Till then, is anyone else willing to go? Simran? Simran, are you there? Deepika, is your mic fixed? We still can't hear you, Deepika. Could you try rejoining? All right. Simran, are you willing to go next? The next speaker? Can you please unmute? All right. Then I guess we are left with Avruti. Avruti, are you there? Avruti, last call. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes, Deepika, you're audible. Go ahead. Please turn on the camera if you can. Okay, great. Perfect.
Okay. Hi, I'm Deepika Meena. Greetings to you all. So, whenever we think of school, we definitely think about grades. Whenever our teachers distribute our copies, we obviously looked at firstly on the marks only. That's how important marks were for us. And I believe that the removal of traditional grading system in primitive educations from till grade 10 can be really, really helpful. Like these are the basic of our schooling. And at that level of schooling, our school should be primarily based on ma'am, am I audible now? A call is coming, that's why.
Yeah.
So that is the primitive schooling, and at that time, our schooling should be basically based on like in curiosity on how you study things and assessments, not on like grades. Like for an example, personal example, I would like to share. Like when I was in grade 9, there was a quiz competition at national quiz competition. So for that, our school conducted a proper like exam for getting qualified into that. And when I did give that exam, I wasn't qualified because I had like 2 marks lesser than the qualifying marks. So with that, I still remember that incident, what impact that had on me. So grades are like really demoting for the students who are not really good in studies, and also like if you cannot top like for even for with 2 or 3 marks, that is like very depressing for the students. Also, marks takes away all the joy. Then there is no curiosity in the students for learning. Also, whenever we are given some project work, okay, so we just focuses on like how we can just complete it and then give it to the teachers, but not on what can we learn from them. And also, whenever if a student fails in any exam, okay, so then if he or she fails repetitively, then they don't think of getting good into that. Then they just as in the previous policy Manthan, we discussed on dropout rates. Okay, so that is because of failing only. That is because of the grading system that we have. And also the society judges the student really badly, like if they don't have good grades. So that is the condition that we have, that so the grades should be totally removed. I don't, not totally, But there, even if the grade system is there, there should be like narrative evaluation of the student, like wherever the student is lacking, and proper assessment of what subjects he or she is good in. Okay, so that is the advices that I would like to give. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepika. I'll give a last call to Abhudi. After that, we won't concluding the session because I don't think we have any other speakers left. Abhudi, are you there? All right. Anyone who has not spoken at all in the session, please raise your hand. This is the last chance and last call, and then we'll conclude the session. Okay, seeing none, I guess everyone have contributed. Perfect. So yeah, let's contribute. Let's conclude the session. It was a really thoughtful and enriching session. Thank you so much to all of you. And today's discussion and everyone's thoughts really showed that marks aren't really the issue. The issue is how we use them and how we create, a delusional competition between all our peers. As even Vrinda mentioned, that marks can give a sense of achievement, but when they are misused, the focus is shifted from learning to pressure. And the speeches were really provoking. I guess everyone, Nithi, Ashna, Sanika, and even Anjali, they all reminded us that we not don't need to remove the grades entirely, but we need to reform the system because obsession with marks really affects the mental well-being of the students. And Vaishnavi even gave us some alternatives like Finland's model and a lot of examples, which urge us to rethink the assessment system and make some changes. So thank you all. The contributions were extremely valuable. And a quick poll under, the group activity, even that reflected that the balance, some support of reducing the exams is important. Some even emphasized for the need for gradual preparation, like for future academic pressure. Olympiads and internships were great examples, great suggestions. So this session basically proves that the middle path is possible, where learning can be meaningful without completely, removing and eliminating the mark system. Assessment can be fair, and students can grow with confidence even when the intensity of the marks grading system is, reduced. So thank you all for contributing your ideas with such clarity and passion. It was an extremely fruitful session, I guess, for all of you as well. Thank you so much. If anyone has any concluding statement to say, please go ahead. Otherwise, I guess we all can leave. No? Perfect then. We all can leave. Good night, you all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Pankudi.